Hey guys, welcome back. We have a lot to get done today. I've got a beautiful rose right there. Sorry, this is like right in my eyes. That needs to get in the ground. I'm just letting it hang out. It just arrived a few days ago. It was a Mother's Day gift. It is the Atlas rose. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But there are some other things I want to show you, what's going on in the garden and what we're expected to do today. As you can see, I still have a load of plants out here. These are my backups for my peppers and tomatoes whenever they need to be replaced out. I may have to start potting up these, but I have some places that I want to stick them in. I also have a slew of different types. There's only 3 types of basil, but I'm just going to go ahead and get some things done. The 3 that we have out here is going to be the cinnamon basil, Genevieve, and mammoth basil. So the mammoth basil is the one that kind of looks like this. Genevieve is that rounded shape to it. And then the purple ones back there are the cinnamon basil, which they do have a cinnamon basil smell to them, which is pretty interesting. Looking forward to using them in some sort of culinary aspect. But for now, we're just going to hack some of this back a little bit, but I'm going to show you the other things that I hopefully will get done today. We go through, I just have to say this looks absolutely wonderful. The roses for the Eden Climber is doing great. The jasmine has since opened up almost fully since maybe a week ago, and it climbed up this trellis before last year ended. So I got it at the end of the season, and it decided to take off and climb super fast. And then the Colette is reaching all the way to the top. I still haven't gotten a string to kind of pull it down towards this way so we can kind of get sorry about the sun, so we can kind of get like a cover over the top in a sense, give it a little bit more shade right there. But I think that will be really pretty. We do have some grapes. Hopefully they stay and hold on, because even though they're there, will they make it to fruiting? I don't know. I've never grown grapes before, so it's a learning curve for me. I have had grapes for 2 years now. I think I put one in, well, maybe 3 seasons. This will be the 3rd season for this one, I think. And this will be the first full season for the one on this side. I got it late in the season last year. It went dormant, and then now we're here this year. So it's kind of like its second year, but I got it like later in the season. But let's just go through so I can show you some of the things that are looking great and then show you other things that we're going to get done. That we worked up just a few days ago. It is looking pretty good. I do have underneath some tubers for potatoes. They're in there. And then I also have some carrots sprinkled in the center. I have no idea if that was a great plan or a bad plan. We did get quite a bit of rain yesterday, so they're all nice and saturated. I probably don't have to water anything for a few days since we got 16 plus hours of consistent rain. Everything is looking good. I do see a stark difference between this side and the other side, which I'll show you real quick. But the snapdragons don't look as lush. That they don't look, I don't know, maybe it's the variety, but I think I mixed and matched both sides a little bit. So there's some in here. They all look kind of straggly. Like, I don't mind because we're not worried about the leaves per se, but they just don't look as happy. They're not unhappy. Their leaves are green, everything is fine. There's no signs of disease or anything like that. They just don't look as full and lush as the other ones do from their stems. The blooms are looking great, but I don't know, they just don't look as happy as the other side for some reason. The Lisianthus are doing absolutely wonderful. They're getting big, they're doing their thing. But the other side is just looking so much more bigger, like plump. I don't know what to call it, but the leaves just look like they're just standing at attention. They just look so much happier on this side, and I'm not sure why. I don't know. They get not exactly the same lighting because the fence kind of and this tree right here kind of blocks the sun a little bit, whereas it's already kind of in dappled sun on the other side, and it's complete shade still over here. So I don't know if that may be the only factor, but these are ahead of the game as well. But everything is still looking great. The Lisianthus are doing wonderful in this space as well. The only thing that looks a little haggardy, raggardy is going to be the poppies. They are growing, but they're not doing anything else. I don't really see much issue with them at this point where they're struggling. They're growing fine. I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. is still doing really great. All that rain probably helped them out. I won't have to water them for a while. Everything out in the main garden, the back garden, is doing really great. I still have yet to get enough soil slash mulch in the ground to really get a good layer and cover everything. I am debating on doing a couple of things because things aren't going as well as I was hoping they would with my peonies. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is one of my peonies. It's come up, it's doing things, it's alive. As well as this one. This one actually did put on a flower already, and I had to take off the buds because if you don't already know, you're supposed to allow peonies 2 or 3 seasons of no budding, like just taking off the blooms, because you want them to focus on the roots. That way, when you do finally allow it to start blooming, it's so strong and you get way more blooms, supposedly, if you wait a few years before allowing it to bud up and bloom. So they came in like a mix, like a sunrise mix, and I think there's, I can't remember all the names, we'll have to post it up there somewhere, but there's different mixes, and I don't know which ones are which yet because they haven't bloomed, so I don't know what colors they are, but once we get that, we can put 2 and 2 together to figure out which ones are which. However, this peony is doing better. It still hasn't grown more than all the, it's grown the most, I think, compared to all the other ones. It's put on the most foliage. However, that's as big as it's gotten. It hasn't gotten any bigger than that. So I don't know if year to year it's just going to get bigger or something's going on. And I did not bury them very deep in the ground at all. It was uncomfortable burying them because I buried them so shallow. I literally put them like maybe an inch or so where the eye was and just dusted a little bit on top. So I barely did anything over top of these peonies. And then I have 2, I think they're just not getting enough sun. But there's one right there, and then there's one mirroring on the other side as well over there where that stick is. So they're not doing quite as well as I was hoping they would. And this is for all of my peonies. All the peonies are coming up, but that's just about as much as they're doing. They do not like the squirrel. He likes to come and eat some of the seeds that we put in the feeder, but they've got babies in their house, and they're like, not today, Buster. You're not coming anywhere near our kids. Ooh, that beautiful red cardinal. How wonderful is that? Oh, bye-bye. Anyway, but so the peony right here, not very deep either in the ground, barely putting on foliage. It could just be that they don't get enough sun because over here on the other side, which I'll show you, have over here get a good amount of sun, and they're not that much bigger either. So I don't know. And actually, I have another one right here. This third one. It's kind of right along the fence line. They're all not that big at all. And so I don't know if it's my soil because we do have really hard soil, like clay soil, that hasn't really been used in this manner before. It was like even grass has trouble growing in this space. Like hardly anything grows back there. So I don't know. And I've amended it. I put stuff in here. I've tried to make it not super lofty, but I have done stuff to help, keep weeds out and put stuff in there. So there is some stuff growing now that I've worked the area, but I don't know if it's the best space for them. And I've come to that conclusion because I picked up one of the peonies that was just not growing at all, and I decided to plant it in this container. And as you can see, it is putting up a good amount of growth. And this is the second eye coming up. Whereas the first one came up, it looked like it was not very happy. And now here, after I put the tomato in first, and then now here, I was like, let me just see. Maybe I can put it in a spot where it gets a good amount of sun. This spot gets tons of sun, quite literally almost all day. I am kind of getting an inkling that it might just be a combination of the ground and the sun. I might leave one in here. These guys have to come out still, so I need to take those out, put those in the garden, along with my poison ivy. I love it. Take it out, those, put another peony in here, and then we put peonies and the large ones on either side, because these are big containers, or put them in these two containers. So I'm not really sure where exactly I'm going to put them, but I do want to move 4 of them and put 1 per container and see if that would be nice. So I don't know if I want to put lavender in these containers or peonies, or if I just want to move the one that's in there and move that somewhere else and put lavender flanking the doors. I'm not sure. Leave a comment which one would be better formation, lavender or peonies, or a mixture of both. I'm not exactly sure. The downside with putting those peonies down, though, I may have to move them eventually because they're going to get too big for the space. It's recommended that you have at least 18, 20-inch diameter and maybe 15-inch or so soil depth, and those small urns are not that big. Well, they're about that. They're like the minimum of that size. So I think they're 15 inches in depth at least, and about close to maybe 18 in diameter. But I'm not sure I want to go through the work of having to take them out in a few years and moving them, because I know it's not the best idea to have to move your peonies around. So let me know what I should do, which one will be the best idea, because I don't want them to get damaged. I don't want to lose any of them. They're expensive. If you don't know, they can be expensive. And the reason why is they last and live for so many. They'll probably be here, if they are successful, they'll be here past when I'm gone. So I definitely want to make sure that they last as long as possible, and I don't want to lose anything. So I'm going to get as much as I can get done, clean up everything, show you what it looks like afterwards. But before I do that, let's talk about this Atlas rose. This is an Atlas rose. It is, the color on here does not match what that looks like. So it looks more yellow and this looks more orange. So we'll have to see if maybe that's just what it ages out to. But these fresh buds looks absolutely yellow to me. So I'm not 100% sure if this is accurate, but according to here, this is what it's supposed to look like. And this is the color of the buds that they're supposed to look like. So I may have to contact whoever we got these from to figure out if this is is the correct rose or not. But we'll have to see. According to this, though, it gets about 3 feet tall and wide. It is good to space it about at least 1 meter or 3.5 feet. It is good in zones 5 through 9. But yeah, this does not look like that color. So I'm a little skeptical of which plant this actually is. This would make a beautiful bouquet if they weren't covered in spider bites. So even though these could be perennial for us in a sense, I don't think they will be able to, because the heat and the humidity just causes all the pests to come out and literally wipe them all out. This is the first time I've ever left them in the ground to try and see if they'll make it through another season. Gotta keep my little dinosaur over here. I don't know why we keep it. Trying to keep as much soil as I can in this container. And I got all kinds of stuff popping up in here. Oh, a ladybug. Oh, let me help the ladybug friend into the garden. I think I'm just going to go ahead and move the peonies that need to be moved. The ones that aren't super lush and super big, I'm going to go ahead and move those. We're going to put one on this side. Not sure which one I want to put. I think I'm going to do the large one just because some massive tubers on it. And I'll show you in just a second. These are the tubers for this one right here. They're barely in the soil. The tubers are still nice and firm, but I think it might be happier in this pot for now. We're just going to move some of the soil out of the way so I can get it just here. And then we're going to just that's all we're going to do. We're not going to do anything else. I think it's not even an inch under the ground at this point. This one is going to go to the other side. We're going to see how it does. Just enough room to slightly bury this tuber, and it might just be very happy in this spot. Not a lot at all. It's just mainly resting on top. Get rid of this chunk of dirt. And that's all I'm going to do for that. And then cover it with the fresh soil on top a little bit, not a lot. I think it was in an okay spot, but I have two hydrangeas over here. Right over here, there's this hydrangea and that one, and they get big. I think they're like 5 by 5 or more. And I put it right there where that stake is. So that's definitely not 5 feet. That's about 3 feet this way. Not even, maybe 2 feet. So it definitely would get encroaching on this one and the other one about in between. But this is supposed to get rather large too. So if they're all getting about 3 feet, they're going to be encroaching into each other, and I don't want that to happen. I am thinking of interplanting sunflower seeds in between my snaps because I don't expect to get more than one flush of them. And then by the time these are done, which they're getting pretty darn close, then the sunflowers will take over, and then we'll have a huge crop of sunflowers in this space. So I'm thinking about just interplanting sunflowers here, just in between the snaps, because the Lisianthus still have quite a bit more to go, and then interplanting them as well in this space. I am going to be starting to do the snaps pretty soon, probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. They'll probably completely finished, and then we'll just get these out of here once they do their thing and just interplant for now with the sunflowers. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do really close spacing so I can kind of get smaller sunflowers. I don't need the 10-foot sunflowers or anything like that. As amazing as that might be, I don't think I'm going to get I don't want to get massive sunflowers in this space. So I'm just going to interplant them. Let me know in the comments if you can, if you think that's a great idea or not, or how long it would take before the sunflowers overwhelm the space. And then I'm going to come back in, and I kind of want to do watermelons on either side of the roses and let it climb up the trellis a little bit, as well as on this side, and let it climb up this. Let me know what you think. We're just winging it here, having fun, enjoying the garden space, but let me show you what everything looks like so far. So I was able to plant one in here, not very deep at all, just barely on the surface with 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches of soil on top. Same thing with this one. We'll see if it fills out and if it does its thing. And we'll see that did the same thing, the same thing in this one, and the same thing in this one. I'm hoping for success. It could be a complete and epic failure, and they all end up dying. I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on it. It is kind of a chilly day today in the sense that I woke up and it was like late, like kind of like 50s, but it wasn't a super cold 50. I don't even know how to explain it because I couldn't see my breath. But it wasn't like, I don't know, the sun was just bright and out here. So the air was kind of chilly, but the sun kept you warm. Like right now, it's just weird. I'm hot, but I'm also kind of cold. I don't know what to say. All right, guys, well, that's about it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.